So the desire was to outfit the Kia as a camper car. First round, we folded down all the seats. Second round, we placed a board over them and removed the part you sit on in the second row because they had to jam up against the seats and create a bump. Now, having done that, we found it worked great, but the seats take up a lot of space which could be used for storage. So now what we've done, we have removed the back row of seats and the second row of seats. We put in a 2x8 cross member, which will be the height of the bed, below which will be entirely storage capacity. So into the places where the seats used to bolt, I now have brackets using the same bolts that hold up my 2x8s. They were fitted together by cutting halfway through each one and taking out a width of a 2x8 so that the two would slide together, kind of tongue and groove a bit. So there's one bar holding the front up. It's a very small bracket at the back here. I kept this little compartment which was used to hold the jack, and because the bed board is just going to sit on top of that. So I still have to put supports up in the front end to hold up the board, but other than that, the rest of it is supported. And what I have to do is take my original bedboard. I'll go into what all the hinged pieces are for later, but basically it's so it can fit around the driver's seat, as it may or may not move back and forward depending on whether you're driving or sleeping. So I have to cut this in half. The back half is going to hinge up to get to storage. The front half will be fixed, and we will get to the storage by opening the doors. I used this kind of angle iron with all the holes in it. 2 rows on one side and 1 row of holes on the other. Then what I did was at the bottom I cut down the fold and cut off part of the double row, and then bent the remaining single row so I could get the angle to line up with the where the hole for the seat attachment had been. So obviously I just cut this to whatever length I needed, and I did the same thing back here. Just because of where I needed the 2x8, the where it attached to the old chair mount was basically directly under the 2x8, so the only way to connect to it was again cut down the seam, cut off part of it, and then bend the other piece, in this case at a 90-degree angle. And so here's the final board, bedboard, that we settled on. The back portion lifts up to provide storage. It's like a trunk. This is where the back seats were, the back row. What I've actually got in there now is the tent, sleeping bag, sleeping pads, a ground pad, pillows, some ropes, a hammock. Oh, and our biggest backpack that we put all that in if we want to go backcountry camping as a side excursion to whatever car camping journey we were going on. In the area beside it is a little kind of a shelter that stands behind the car if we want to be able to sit outside and protect ourselves from the rain, as well as 2 fold-out chairs, a pad which we used to use for canoeing. I even got my tire chains there. And then the original jack and its container that were back here previously are still here, but the original little compartment that sat along the back of the Rondo has been removed just because we couldn't get the chairs in this segment without removing it. So that's the back part. It hinges up. Now the front part is a little more complicated. This piece, this little flap at the side here, is there because when you build this bedboard, you can't put a 49 or 48 inch board in the back of the car the opening, even diagonally, is somewhere around 46 inches. So this folds up for its to get it in and out of the car. In our original configuration, when it was laying on seats, it was one board. I cut it in half for this installation, and with the hinges off, I was able to actually put this piece in through the side door. But I'm not planning on taking the hinges off every time. If I want to lift this out for any reason, it still comes out. So that's what that piece is for. Let me look at the other pieces. There's a lot of hinges in this bedboard, and there's a reason for it. You can't drive the car with the seat pushed all the way forward, the driver's seat. And you can't have a passenger if the passenger seat's all the way forward. However, what this length that you see here gives me is a 6 foot 6 inch sleeping length with ease. And so it allows me to easily stretch way out long and have a very, very long bed. Now, for driving, I can't have that. So this part folds up, including its stand going down to the door. In this position, I can put the seat back and I can tilt it back to a comfortable position for driving in. So I'll do that now. So I can drive that, and the board sits there. With the bed on there, the dog can be in the back and can come forward through to the armrest to sit between us to look out the front window, which she loves to do. Now, there's a reason why this other piece folds out. In this position, the two seats can fold back. Obviously you wouldn't need to do this when you're driving, but the passenger on a long drive might well want to have a darn good nap. So in this position, the passenger seat can tip way back. Unfortunately, there's a break if the dog wants to use the armrest. We tend to do most of our driving with this piece folded forward. Now, in any configuration, we still put the mattress on here, but with that piece folded back, obviously the mattress is then folded back on itself by about 6 inches. Now, originally, I was going to bolt down the front half of this board. I discovered something while I was building it, which was a really neat idea. And that was that you could actually fold it up. The mattress, of course, has to fold. But the advantage is that now we can get 100% access to this storage space. You can see where we have our little portable Coleman stove down there. And the wooden feet, which are normally in this position, anchoring themselves in this hole here, which is basically an unused hole in the floor. The actual seats had anchored to holes, which probably you can't see, but they were actually at an angle down there. I used one of them to anchor this centerpiece. We've decided that we will leave this unanchored because this just seems like such a great idea. So let me put this back in its original position. What we've done for anchorage, you can see these two brackets. They're not screwed on completely. What happens is when you shut this top layer, this piece, the back piece of the bedboard, those two brackets anchor it to the cross member, which is very, very securely anchored right back here by a bracket to the floor, so that the whole thing cannot accidentally move back. We intend, though, that normally access to the storage area underneath will just be from the open door, the open passenger doors at the back. And we will figure out how to store things efficiently in the space that's there. That was one of the things I had to consider when getting the support for the very end, the extension to the bedboard. When this is folded back, that board sits there, and I chose it that way partly so it's a stop for things rolling under the seat, partly for strength, but also because when this whole lot is folded up, I wanted it to just lay flat and then the mattress go on top of it, so that we actually could leave it like that and sleep on it, sit on it, store things on it, without having great feet sticking up in the air or sticking back. I found that when we had our 1/2-inch foam mattress on the bedboard, but no sleeping bag, that when I slept on the bedboard, my hips suggested to me that it was very hard and I was a little sore in the morning. So for those times when it's warm and we don't want sleeping bags and we just want a simple comforter on top of the mattress, I am going to use this foam. It's the kind of foam used for covering patio furniture cushions. It's a 1/2-inch thick, and I figured it basically equated to the missing sleeping bag. We're then going to put our foam mattress on top of this, and I aim that this will be this will solve the problem and I can sleep more comfortably. And so with the foam mattress in, a sheet over it, tucked underneath the 1/2-inch padding I put underneath, you can see that behind the driver's seat it's a little higher. That's because it's sitting on top of those items that I folded down. It's more just because it's squeezed by the doors when you shut them. I made sure that to have as much mattress in there as possible, so when you're sleeping in there, it appears to go absolutely wall to wall. Currently I have the extension stand folded back, so if I was really sleeping in there, it would be folded out and the whole thing would be completely flat. But at this point I get a little extra padding from the pieces of wood laying there when it's folded up. So we can, if I move the driver's seat back, we can drive with this like this. We can put some cargo in here, but our hope is that most of it stores underneath. If we had to put a lot more cargo in, we would go to the carry container that we've been using in the past that straps onto the roof and gives us a great big trunk on top. So this is permanently how the car is kept. It's like this if I go grocery shopping. It's like this if we go car camping. It makes no difference. We leave it permanently like this. We could take it out, but we have another car with more seats in it if we needed to use it.